Hello friends, you are welcome in my video lecture series on tissue systems. So today I am going to discuss the next tissue system in our syllabus. Name of this tissue system is secretory tissue system. So I am going to discuss initially the introductory part of this topic, secretory tissue system. So what are the secretory tissues? The tissues which are having the power of secretion, different types of secretions, are commonly called as secretory tissues. And the all secretory tissues which are present in the form of patches throughout the plant body in different organs. So all these secretory tissues present in different organs of the plants constitutes a system commonly called as a secretory tissue system. So the secretions are made by generally the cytoplasm of the living cell. So any secretions are made by the cytoplasm of living cells only. That means dead cells are not having ability to secrete any kind of secretory compounds. That means the secretions are made by the cytoplasm of living cells only, and they may be stored in the special structures like glands, as well as special structures like nectaries or special cells, or they may be exuded out from the secretory structures or secretory cells. So the secretions made by the different types of secretory structures are of different types. For example, in some plants, secretory structures are responsible for secretion of resins. In some plants, secretory compounds are essential aromatic oils. In some plants, secretions are in the form of latex. In some plants, secretions are in the form of mucilage. In some plants, secretion is nectar. That means nectary is a special structure which is involved in the secretion of nectar. In some plants, secretions are digestive enzymes. In some plants, secretions are poisonous substances. That means nature of secretion is different, and on the basis of different secretory components and their position in the plant body, the secretory tissue system is divided for our convenience into two categories: external secretory structures and internal secretory structures. So these external secretory structures, they are morphologically different. That means structurally different, as well as the secretions made by the different secretory structures are also not uniform. They are different. That means morphologically secretory structures are different, as well as the secretions produced by these secretory structures is also different. So all these secretory structures which are present superficially on the various plant organs like stem, leaves, flowers, etc., they are commonly called as external secretory structures. And some secretory structures which are present inside the plant body, it may be present in the leaf tissue, it may be present in the stem tissue, it may be present in root tissue, it may be present in fruit tissue. That means internally the many organs of the plants, vegetative organs as well as reproductive organs, possess some secretory structures, and all these secretory structures which are present internally in the plant body, they are commonly called as internal secretory structures. So I am going to discuss one by one both these secretory structures. As far as external secretory structures are concerned, I have told you earlier, morphologically they are different types, and on the basis of their morphological structure and secretions made by these secretory structures, the secretory the external secretory structures The external secretory structures are categorized or classified into four categories like trichomes, glands, nectaries and hydathodes. So meaning of this term trichome, I have told you last time in epidermal tissue system. Meaning of this term trichome. Trichome is any hairy appendage arising from the epidermis of the various organs of the plants are commonly called as trichomes. So these trichomes are hairy appendages, commonly known as glandular hairs. That's why these glandular hairs are having the ability of secretion. So these glandular hairs or trichomes are found in many family members. For example, family Lamiaceae, family Solanaceae, family Pedaliaceae, family Euphorbiaceae, family Urticaceae, family Asteraceae. So these are the names of the family, and in members of this family like Urticaceae, Asteraceae, Lamiaceae, Solanaceae, Euphorbiaceae and Pedaliaceae, they shows the presence of glandular hairs. Glandular hairs. So these are some of the examples I have quoted here. This is one example from Ocimum. Glandular hairs in Ocimum. So in the leaves of Ocimum, glandular hairs are present in the depression in the leaf epidermis. These glandular hairs are very small in size. They are having very short stalk and button-like 2 to 3 celled head, which is having ability to secrete essential aromatic compounds. That means the secretions made by these glandular hairs in Ocimum is in the form of essential aromatic oils. The second example is stinging hair. So in the plant, I have told you last time also, in the plant Urtica dioica leaves possess such kind of hairy appendages, which are the examples of glandular hairs. Stinging, commonly they are known as stinging hairs. So these stinging hairs are having bulbous base, which is actually a gland, and the apical narrow portion having terminal tip, which is silicified. When this grazing animals comes in contact with the leaf of this Urtica, the silicified tip bursts and poisonous substances which are found in the gland, secreted by gland, stored in the gland, they are exuded out and they causes irritation of animal skin. That's why grazing animals don't try to eat the leaves of such plants like Urtica. That means this is the defense mechanism of this plant, presence of stinging hair. Then another trichome, glandular trichomes are nothing but coletors. So this is the Greek term, cola. Cola is a Greek term. Meaning of this term is a sticky substance. That means those glands which are responsible for secreting sticky substances or mucilaginous substances, they are commonly called as coletors. So these coletors are found in many members. For example, in Viola, in Rosa, in Caria, bud scales. In these plants, in Brassica, in Viola, in Caria and in Rosa, such kinds of mucilage secreting glands are there or sticky substance secreting glands are there. They are commonly called as coletors. So these are the coletors or glandular hairs which are studied under the heading of coletors from Brassinia. Example of this, so Brassinia is an example of aquatic plant. In the leaf epidermis of this Brassinia, the coletors are present in the leaf epidermis. Each glandular hair is in the form of large gland at the tip and narrow portion or stalk at the base. This gland secretes the mucilaginous substances which initially encircles this gland. Later on, it spreads throughout the leaf epidermis. That means these coletors plays an important role in the secretion of sticky substances or mucilaginous substances, which are helpful for these plants from preventing the excessive wetting of plant and decaying of the leaves. Then next example of the external secretory structures, glands. So there are different types of glands. But those glands which are having ability to secrete the digestive enzymes, they are commonly studied under the heading of digestive glands. So these digestive glands are generally found in insectivorous plants like Drosera, Utricularia, Nepenthes, Aldroventa, Pinguicula. There is a long list of these insectivorous plants which are commonly found in the nitrogen deficient soils or in marshy soils. So this is the digestive gland. This is the diagram of Drosera leaf. This Drosera leaf shows modified epidermal appendages commonly called as tentacles. There at the tip of the tentacle there is a gland. This gland secretes the sticky substance or glistening drop as well as the proteolytic enzymes or protein digestive enzymes. That means these proteolytic enzymes which are secreted by this gland, they digest the insect body proteins and demand of this plant or deficiency of the nitrogen is fulfilled. That means these digestive glands which are found in insectivorous plants plays important role in the digestion of insect body proteins. Then next category of these glands which are commonly found in floral structures or flowers, commonly called as osmophores. So some flower shows fragrance, smells. So smell or fragrance in some flowers is due to the special structures which are present in the flowers. These special structures are nothing but the osmophores. That means some cells which are having the ability to secrete the essential aromatic oil, which gives fragrance, which gives aromatic compounds, which gives smell. That means these osmophores are generally found in some flowers, floral organs. They may be found in petals or stamens or carpels also. Then next category of external secretory structures can be studied under the heading of nectaries. So we know nectary. So nectary are special structures which are involved in the secretion of nectar. So what is the nectar? Nectar is a sugary substance which is received from phloem, and this sugary substance which is received from phloem is stored in the special structures commonly called as nectaries. So this nectaries secretes the nectar, means sugary solution, sugary substance, which is beneficial for this plant having this nectaries for their pollination. That means for attracting the insects, some birds, this nectary plays important role in pollination process in these plants. So flowering, there are two types of nectaries. Nectaries which are associated with floral organs or floral parts like sepals, petals, stamens, etc. They are known as floral nectaries, and nectaries which are associated with extrafloral organs like petioles, leaves, stem, etc. They are commonly called as extrafloral nectaries. So this is the first example from floral nectary. In Thea chinensis, nectaries are present at the base of the stamens. So these are the stamens. This is the carpel or pistil. Below the stamens, nectaries are there. That means nectaries are present at the base of the stamens in Thea chinensis. Another example is Jatropha. In Jatropha, nectaries are found at the base of the ovary. So there is a disc-like structure below the ovary. Below the ovary, this disc-like structure is nothing but the nectary. That means nectar secreting glands known as nectary, they are found here in below the ovary. Below the ovary. The next example, prunus. In prunus, floral nectaries are present in the floral cup. Nectaries are present in the floral cup. Another example, Poinsettia pulcherrima. In this Poinsettia pulcherrima, this is the inflorescence. These are the staminate flower. This is the pistillate flower. This one is the pistillate flower or female flower. And these are the staminate flower. And this structure is known as involucre cup. So inside this involucre cup, all these male and female flowers are there. This is actually inflorescence. Poinsettia pulcherrima inflorescence. So on this inflorescence, there is an involucre cup. And on this involucre cup, there is a nectary. That means nectary is associated with the floral part like involucre cup. Then this type of nectary, which are not associated with floral parts, they are commonly called as a extrafloral nectaries. So nectaries which are present on extrafloral organs like stem, leaf, petioles, stipules, etc. They are commonly called as extrafloral nectary. So this is the example of passiflora. In passiflora, nectaries are present at the junction of on the petiole. So this is a long petiole, this is the leaf. On this petiole, small brown color components are seen through our naked eye. With the help of our naked eye, we can observe this nectar. So this button-like small structures which are present on petiole are the examples of extrafloral nectary, which secretes the nectar, which attract the insects, ants, etc., and which are beneficial for pollination for these flowers in this plant. Then last category of the external secretory structures, hydatodes. So hydatodes are also known as water stomata. Hydatodes are also known as water stomata because the ordinary stomata which are present in the epidermis of aerial organs of the plants, especially leaves and stems of the herbaceous plants, they take part in exudation of water in the form of vapors during daytime through the process of transpiration. So this stomata doesn't throw out water in the form of vapors. Directly water is thrown outside from this stomata in the form of water drops. That's why they are commonly called as water stomata. So water stomata are generally found at the ends of the veins, at the margins of the leaves, at the tips of the leaves. Generally they are found in grasses, some ferns, etc. That means this location of stomata is at the tips of the leaves, at the margins of the leaves, at the ends of the veins, This is the peculiar characters of this stomata. As far as size of this stomata is concerned, these stomata are larger in size, and these stomata on the basis of their morphological structure are classified into these three categories: unicellular stomata, unicellular hydatodes, trichome hydatodes, and water conducting hydatodes. So these unicellular hydatodes are generally papilla-like structures or small appendages which are taking part in secretion of water directly in the form of water drops. So these papilla-like structures are commonly one-sided. That means they are unicellular. They are taking part in the exudation of water in the form of water drops. For example, in plants like Anamitra, these papilla-like structures are found in the leaf. They take part in exudation of water in the form of water drops. The next type of hydatodes are known as trichome hydatodes. So as like these trichomes or hairy appendages, these appendages are involved in the exudation of water in the form of water drops. That's why they are known as trichome hydatodes. So these hairy appendages involved in secretion of water may be found, or they are found, in Bignoniaceae members as well as Convolvulaceae member as well as Piperaceae members. Then last type of hydatodes are commonly known as water conducting hydatodes. So these hydatodes are generally found in Nephrolepis, in potato, in grasses as well as in Eucornia. So these hydatodes in grasses generally present at the tips. In Nephrolepis, they are present at the margins of the leaves, at the ends of the veins. So these hydatodes directly throw out some water in the form of water drops. So this is the LS of hydatode, which shows opening of hydatode. Below the opening there is a cavity, commonly known as substomal cavity. Below this cavity there is a loose tissue, which is commonly known as epithelium. Below this loose tissue there are conducting elements in the form of tracheids. So the remaining portion is occupied by these ordinary cells like chlorenchyma, then epidermis, etc. So this is the longitudinal view of this hydatodes, which shows different components. That means why these hydatodes are known as water conducting hydatodes, because these hydatodes shows the conducting elements. In association with these hydatodes, water conducting elements like tracheal vessels are there in the stomata. That's why they are known as water conducting hydatodes. That means these hydatodes or water stomata plays important role in the exudation of water directly in the form of water drops. So that's all about this 50% portion or half portion of this tissue system external secretory structures. So next time I am going to discuss the internal secretory structures. So thank you.